This week I put out some new stuff and might have changed my signature scent, so stay tuned. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance contests. You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below and also make sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. So today is again another weekly fragrance rotation. And if you aren't familiar with this series, we basically run down what fragrance I wore on each day, how many sprays, the kind of weather, and of course, if that fragrance got a compliment or not. So let's get right into Sunday. Sunday happened to be in the low 80s and rainy outside, and I was in the mood for a leather fragrance, and this might be an ombre leather killer, and it is Super's Budapest Hacivat the Wolf, which is basically pretty much Tuscan leather and ombre leather kind of combined together, because you are going to get that fruity raspberry from Tuscan leather, but you're also going to get these kind of white florals and that very sharp kind of rugged leather from ombre leather combined together, which makes up this, and it's incredible. And I do of course own both Tuscan leather and ombre leather in my collection right over there. Tuscan leather was actually my first high-end purchase of a fragrance all the way back like 7 years ago. So that's like near and dear to my heart. But guys, when it comes to leather, I think this might be my new favorite all-time leather in my collection. And it's a beast, just like what you expect from the house of Supers. They just have so many bangers and it's worth the hype. And of course, if you do want to check out anything from the house, use my code HUNTER10 and that's going to save you 10% off. That day, I did do 5 sprays, didn't do really that much, didn't get really any compliments. But like I said, if you're looking for a rugged, fruity leather fragrance, this is one to check out, especially for the price you can get this for. Monday was also in the low 80s, but it happened to be sunny outside, and I honestly wasn't really sure what I wanted to wear, so I went for a dumb reach that's affordable, and it is off non-supremacy, not only intense, which is basically very similar to like hacivat and aventus. You are going to get that fruity pineapple, some oak moss I believe in here as well, or black currant. But it's a beast, guys. This is a very, very strong fragrance, and if you're looking for something strong on a budget, you definitely want to check this one out. But also if you kind of like that nishane, hacivat, and creed aventus DNA all together, but you don't really want to spend that much, this is also another version you might want to get your hands on, especially for around like 30 or so bucks you can find it for. And it's just a beast. Now, on that day, I don't recall doing much either. It was Monday. I did do 10 sprays of not only intense, which will be overkill for this fragrance, because trust me, you will not need 10 sprays. That's just kind of my routine. Most of the time when I pull this one out, it always gets attention, compliments, people asking you what you're wearing. So if you do want to get that attention and get noticed, this is the fragrance for you right here. And just perfect for a dumb reach when you don't really know what to wear. Tuesday was in the mid 80s and actually sunny outside, and I reached for a fragrance that I haven't worn in probably a year or so, and I forgot how good it was, and it is Moschino's Toy Boy in this iconic kind of teddy bear bottle that everybody pretty much knows when they see this. And wow, I'm gonna have to wear this one much more after that day on Tuesday, because I really fell in love with this one. You're gonna get this fresh kind of fruity pear note, obviously this very kind of luscious rose, and I believe some incense in here as well. And it's literally so good and extremely unique, and probably one of the most masculine rose fragrances on the market. But I'm not sure if this is discontinued or not. You don't really see this at department stores anymore like you used to a few years ago when it came out. But if you do want a masculine rose fragrance, this is going to be right up your alley with this. And on that day, I did do 8 sprays of Toy Boy. The performance with this one is outstanding, probably even nuclear, to be honest. Very, very strong. Also did get a compliment from a coworker. She just told me that I smelled very good on that day. But like I said, extremely well done rose fragrance. And that's what I kind of like about having this many fragrances. When you reach for something you haven't worn in a long time, you kind of get an appreciation for it, and like, wow, I forgot how good that was. And that's kind of what I experienced on Tuesday with Toy Boy. But let me know down below if any of you guys also rock this bad boy right here. Wednesday was in the mid 80s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out a brand new niche fragrance in my collection from Thameen, which is their newest launch, and it is called Bold as Love. Now, like a name like that, you're going to expect this fragrance to be bold, and trust me, bold it is, because this is going to be a very kind of juicy, fruity pineapple fragrance in the opening, at least, with some other fruits, I believe like mandarin and spicy ginger. As this one dries down, guys, it turns into this very smoky, rugged leather note, one of the smokiest leather notes I've ever smelled in a fragrance. And if you look this one up, it does get compared to like Creed Aventus, which it is somewhat similar in kind of the same family, but this is a much more bold fragrance compared to Aventus. If you thought Aventus was smoky, trust me, then this is gonna blow you out of the water with the smoke you get in Bold as Love. Almost so smoky that it could be a little bit off-putting to some people, especially on skin. It smells so much different on skin rather than a test strip. But this might be my new favorite from the Brit Alone collection, and I do own a few such as Chords and Bohemian Infusion. This is the darkest of all of them. However, on that day, I did do 8 sprays of this to get a full wearing, see how it performed, how it kind of changed and developed for a review in the future, because I'm going to have to review this one because it's actually very outstanding and extremely unique. And I also did get a compliment from a coworker. She asked me, what the heck is that fragrance called? It smells good. So I told her, she pretty much like wrote it down. And then she told me that it kind of smells similar to something I've worn before, which she was spot on with that, because like I said earlier, it is in that same kind of Aventus family, but nowhere near identical to Aventus. Trust me. Don't buy this one thinking it's going to be similar. It just has that kind of pineapple smokiness that you get in a ton of other fragrances that are similar to Aventus. But possibly if you thought Aventus was kind of getting boring and you want something a little bit more unique and bold, then absolutely check out Bold as Love from Famine. Thursday was in the mid 70s and sunny outside, so starting to cool down a little bit. And this was the day where I think I'm going back to this fragrance as my signature scent. As we all know, if you follow my channel, right now, Tiger is my signature scent, but I've kind of gone back and forth with this one and Tiger, and it's made by the same perfumer. It is Louis Vuitton's La Mentite. Probably my favorite freshie from Louis Vuitton, to be honest with you. You do get that juicy, natural smelling grapefruit, some spicy ginger. But this one, however, has this very warm, kind of sensual amber note in the base of it, and it's much more complex than Tiger by far. And I just absolutely love this fragrance. It's near and dear to my heart as well, because this was the first Louis Vuitton I ever got. I think I will make this one my signature scent going forward. That doesn't mean Tiger is bad by any means. I love Tiger. One of the most simplistic freshies that is so good. But this one, in my opinion, I think is a much sexier fragrance when it comes to that kind of ginger and ambroxan grapefruit DNA. And at the end of the day, Louis Vuitton is my favorite designer house, so it's kind of fitting. On that day as well, I did get 2 compliments from La Mentite, and this usually gets more attention than Tiger. What's crazy is if you watch any of my weekly fragrance rotations, every time I worn Tiger, I've actually never really gotten a compliment, I think maybe once. So this is going to be a more compliment getter, which is surprising. I have gotten many compliments from Tiger kind of inspired by fragrances or clones, but for some reason when it comes to Tiger, not that much attention. I think because this one does perform a little bit better. And like I said, is sexier with that warm kind of sensual, cozy amber note in the base. And it's crazy too, because I did have one of the compliments came from a coworker. She told me, wow, whatever you're wearing today smells extremely sexy. She was pretty much losing her mind being around me throughout the entire day. And then later on in the evening, I did meet up with some family, and one of them said that I always smell so good. And mind you, when I met up with them, that was probably like 12 hours after applying La Mentite, which is crazy. Now, I've had this bottle for around 1.5 years, so it has sat, matured, macerated for quite some time. And when it comes to these Louis, they do actually perform better as time goes on and the longer they sit. So just keep that in mind as well. If you do get a bottle of La Mentite or anything else from Louis Vuitton, let it sit for a while and it will perform a little bit better. But I've never really had any performance issues when it came to La Mentite to begin with. It's always been a very, very good performer. Just like Imagination, which are probably the 2 strongest freshies from Louis. But this is my baby right here and my favorite fragrance, probably from Louis Vuitton, and I do own, I believe, 16 now. So that's what I chose for Thursday is my new signature scent going forward, La Mentite, but obviously that can change down the line. Friday was in the mid 80s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out a new fragrance from Fleur, even though it's not new because it was a body spray, but they made it into a eau de parfum. and that is Vanilla Skin, which I believe was their most popular body spray when it came out almost around a year or so ago. I did like that fragrance, but I never wore it because I'm not into body sprays, to be honest. So when I saw they're coming out with an EDP, I was like, wow, okay, that's probably going to be much better, and much better it is. Because of course, body sprays are just very airy. They don't have many kind of essential oils in them, and they kind of fade extremely quick. This though, still not a beast. Actually, the performance was below average, and the projection wasn't the best either, but it's more of an intimate kind of sensual, sexy, vanilla, spicy, woody kind of DNA. But if you were a person that got their nose on Vanilla Skin body spray and you loved it, but you thought the performance was just whack and not good, absolutely get your hands on the EDP. And it's kind of crazy too, because this has the note of oud in it, but it's more of a spicy, kind of a smoky, warm oud, not really barnyardy or animalic. However, on Friday, I did do 5 sprays of Vanilla Skin. Like I said, the performance was not the best, a little bit disappointing. And I only really did do 5 sprays because this one does lean a little bit more on the feminine side. That's usually the case when it comes to heavy vanilla fragrances. Sometimes when you picture that note, you kind of think more feminine. It is sort of the case with this one, even though the spices, the oud, and the woodiness does kind of balance it out where I can wear it. But ladies, if you're watching this one, absolutely check this out because I think it would smell so sexy on a woman. Probably one of the best fragrances from Fleur, even though Tangerine Boy is still my #1 favorite from the house. On that day, also got no compliments on Friday, just kind of ran errands, did some shopping, had to get some things done. Like I said, it's a very intimate kind of fragrance, the sort of fragrance you would like to wear on a date to bring them closer to you. Not something to really get attention if you're just out running errands or anything like that. But that's what I chose for Friday, is Vanilla Skin. Wrapping the week off on Saturday, it was in the low 80s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out a brand new fragrance in my collection, even though this fragrance has been around for a long time. And it is Ralph Lauren's Polo Red, the original EDT, which if you watched my review of Polo Red Parfum, I absolutely dogged that fragrance, wasn't a fan of it. The original EDT is 10 times better than the Polo Red Parfum, because when I got this in, I was like, okay, hopefully it's not the same as Polo Red Parfum, which I didn't like, but thankfully that's not the case. This is actually surprisingly good with this kind of unique red fruitiness in the opening that dries down very spicy. And I believe it also has these fougere kind of lavender sage qualities about it as well. Absolutely surprised me, to be honest with you. And Polo actually redesigned their bottles to kind of follow suit with like Polo 67 and all of the Parfum flankers, which I think look much better than the original bottles. But I also believe they might have changed up the scent profile of this one. I don't have much experience with the original from like years ago. If you look at the note breakdown from the original, and if you look at the note breakdown of the new bottles, at least on the Ralph Lauren website, they have a few different notes. So I'm not the one that pretty much tell you if they changed it or not, since I don't have much experience, but they might have. Still surprisingly really good, and I'm a big fan of the original red. And on that day, I did only do 5 sprays of this one to kind of just get a normal wearing experience from it. Performance was fairly good as well, especially being an eau de toilette. Projection was extremely heavy in the first couple hours. No compliments on that day, really didn't do much, kind of chilled out, relaxed, watched UFC 303 in the evening time. For all my UFC fans out there, let me know down below what you thought about that card. Of course, it would have been much better if Conor McGregor was headlining against Michael Chandler, but of course that fell through. Anyways, that's what I wore for Saturday, is Polo Red EDT. I'm gonna have to review this one soon because it is a classic. But that's gonna wrap up my weekly fragrance rotation per usual. Let me know down below what you guys chose to wear throughout the week, because I love seeing it. And also leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, and of course, I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.